We'll do something in.
Well, recording's in progress. Welcome to the latest edition of First State Kopites. It's episode 32, and I think it's match week 32, actually, coincidentally, of season 3. I don't know how they number these match weeks. Podcast for Liverpool supporters in Delaware and friends of those Liverpool supporters. Thanks for listening on your preferred platform. Joined this week by Daz, who's in Baltimore, and Sean. It's April, and the Reds have played their first game. And they squeaked a narrow, lucky 2-0 win. Well, depending on whose view you take on this, against Watford. Big games ahead this week in Champions League away at Benfica, and a small matter of Manchester City next Sunday. So we are going to do a few things. We're going to talk about the Watford game and maybe persuade, well, from my perspective, persuade people that actually this was perfectly fine performance in terms of what needed to happen in that game. We'll look ahead and maybe not spend too long because the Benfica game is less than 24 hours away. But in honor of Hytham, we've got to give Otamendi a mention or two as we kind of consider that. It doesn't have to be a good mention. So, and then we'll talk about the big one. And the Reds go into that with a 10-game winning streak. A few other things we'll touch on. Congratulations to Liverpool women for getting promotion back to the Premier League. Hopefully we can do some things to promote them going forward in their new surroundings. Maybe we'll touch on Everton. Maybe we'll touch on other European ties. And if Daz has his way, maybe we'll talk about the World Cup, the sports washing World Cup in Qatar. It should be shorthand for that, shouldn't it? Anyway, we're going to enjoy the ride. Virgil's told us that's what we need to do, so let's get on with it. Watford, where do we begin? I want to begin with this, actually. December 2019, this is the last time I saw the Reds play in person. It was a 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday. Watford had a bunch of chances. We won 2-0. It was pretty squeaky till the very end when we scored the second goal. Some parallels here. That month, we won the World Club Championship, and we battered Leicester 4-0 on Boxing Day, and it looked like the league was going to be ours. Oh, and Watford got relegated. All feels like kind of maybe some parallels are going to play out. So there were some disjointed elements to our performance for sure. But where do we want to start? There were some things that weren't quite working, but I thought there were plenty of things that were. I've got to go to you, Daz, first. The things that were working, the things that weren't working, what was your perspective?
I've listened to a couple of other people's whose opinion I respect. So it was me looking in the mirror, really. But no, and I was just talking to Sean about this off air. I've always in my head got this assumption that we have to play champagne football, expensive, full throttle, just looking spectacular all the time. And I think with as much grinding and as much business that we've done this year, I'm kind of falling into Sean's camp. It's just you just have to do the business no matter how it's done. And I think it's more of me being a shithouse than it is anything else. We never, just to extrapolate, I don't think that we ever really got into fourth gear. And I'm wondering if that's not because we didn't need to. So it's almost like a conservation of energy thing for you scientists out there. Like if you don't need to go to go balls to the wall to get a result, and you know that you can do it at 60 or 70%, then do it.
I saw somebody else saying that, Des, like that it looked like in the first half, especially that we weren't kind of going, all out. There was some kind of energy conservation. I don't know, if that's accurate, if that makes sense or not, but anyway, just say I saw someone else talking about the same thing.
Yeah, and it does make sense, because one of the things that we loved about Klopp when he first got there was that full metal football aspect of things, full metal soccer for our American friends, and I don't think he can do that. If you're looking to win as many games as he needs to win and as many competitions as he's in, like you kind of have to pick and choose your battles. Having said that, and again, I'll extrapolate even further, is what do we see this weekend against City? Like, have we been putting everything in the tank for that, or keeping everything in the tank for that? Because we have, by and large, a fully fit squad. It's not like he can call on any and all resources that he has at his disposal. I know that we're a very big rhythm team, and I think that we might have suffered a little bit from that being off for 2 weeks, and we've got a couple of guys back that did play a lot of football while they were gone, so that might have played into it as well. But I guess enough has been said by people that know about the way they play, what Roy Hodgson has done since he got to Watford, but they stuck to their task admirably. Like I think that they didn't want to get tonked, and they didn't. It was close right up until the end. Well, close being like they hadn't conceded 4 or 5. You think about the one that Virgil, like, he was by himself essentially, and he tried to nestle it up where the owls sleep, and he didn't need to. He could have smashed it in. There's one that Jota like jumped a little bit early. We could have had it in bed a lot earlier than we did, but I don't think that when Mane came on, I was surprised. He wasn't the full-throated 100% Mane that we're used to. Like, he usually, when he came on as a sub, and when you come on as a sub, like, if the goalkeeper's got the ball at his feet with as much pace as he has, you generally tend to see him close him down a lot quicker, and he kind of just jogged. So again, maybe there was. And you could look at the shadow side of that and say, like, maybe these guys think they're the dog's bollocks, and they didn't need to put it in. But I think there's been enough games to draw from where we can actually say, like, hey, they've done it more often. They've done it often enough against lesser competition. Then it seems like this might be like a data analysis kind of thing. It's like, look, we know what you guys are capable of. We don't need you guys killing yourself against. And no disrespect to Watford, but like the Watfords and the Manchester Uniteds and the Evertons who are in the lower half of the. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. But yeah, I think that it was job done. And to go back to my original point is, I think that's kind of where we're at. Is like you're out there to do a job, and you might have to sacrifice a little bit of the champagne football aspect of it. But it's 3 fucking points, and we needed 3 fucking points, and we move on to Benfica, and then we have City on the weekend.
So before we move on to Benfica, just going to turn to Sean. So I thought it was interesting. I thought there was an imbalance actually by the team. And I don't know if Watford contributed to this, but it felt like at times Robertson felt quite isolated. That Jota doesn't play like Mane does on the left, and there were times when Firmino was creating space for Robertson, but I thought Firmino had a great game, but he was kind of all over the place pressing, but it didn't help. I think Robertson have necessarily a good game. On the other side, it seemed weird there on occasions how much space they gave Gomez, almost as if actually our job is to shut down the guy who has all the assists on the left hand side, and kind of missing the point that Gomez might actually be able to contribute, because he could have had a couple assists in the game, not just the one that he did. So you thought about the imbalance. I mean, I thought there were some individually great performances, but the times where it didn't quite gel, and maybe that was okay.
Yeah, I thought I was telling Daz, I don't think we played very well at all, and it's one of these games where I thought we really didn't play well, and we still, deserved to win the game. Totally controlled the game. Like, it wasn't really ever in doubt. Although when we were up, the 1-0, I'm not going to say I was nervous, but the 2 best chances they got were both offside, and they only had a couple others, so they really didn't threaten us very much. But we also weren't creating a whole lot either. And I thought Salah had a really poor game. It's one of the only games I can ever remember where I came away thinking, like, they didn't look great. And then Gomez, I thought Gomez played well, but he's different than Trent on that side. And then I thought Curtis had a really.
That's unfair, Sean. Like, we said the same thing about Neko. It's a Nico. He's such a singular player that he evades all comparison. And
it's not to be critical of Gomez. It's just anybody's going to be different, and the point is we're doing a lot of rotation, and it's going to throw the team off a little bit, especially if people have some off days. Like I think Curtis did too. I didn't think that he had his best game. I think what was happening too is Curtis was getting in odd positions, and Henderson was getting pulled to the right. So then Thiago kind of was getting pulled towards the middle, to your point, and Jota likes to cut in and play more centrally when he plays from the left. So you had Robertson out there all by himself because there was just a lot of stuff that wasn't quite working, but it wasn't not really anybody's fault. I mean, I thought Gomez had a great game. And in fact, it's the first time I've seen Gomez since his injury where it looked like his pace was really back. Like he looked quicker than I've seen him the rest of the season, which was good to see. The assist was incredible. I mean, it was great.
Sumptuous, I believe is the word you're looking for.
I've heard other people say, Joe Gomez might be our fourth center back, but he also might be England's best center back, and he just happens to be playing on our team.
Well, if getting booed is any indication, then he's definitely one of England's best center backs.
But I mean, the point is, how many other teams in the league would he not start for, realistically? I mean, I think maybe I don't know other than City. If realistically, he probably should be starting for just about everybody else in the league. So, I mean, that's how good I think he is. I mean, but
better than Nathan Ake.
We're fortunate that we have Matip and Konate, who would be the best center back on basically every other team in the league if we didn't have Van Dijk. And so, it's kind of unfortunate the way things have worked out for Joe, but I think he had a great game this past weekend. I'm happy to see him looking that way again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there was a bit of rustiness. I mean, I think the weird things going on. Like, I think there was a bit of rustiness with some players. I think other players hadn't played for quite a while. And probably if you think about that formation, I don't think so. Someone's going to probably go like, "Oh, we played that 2 weeks ago," but I don't think we played quite that formation for a while. I think it's been different. So I think if we've had Diaz a lot out on the left, right? So there's been somebody definitely there for Robertson to interact with. We've often, and Thiago hasn't been pulled, as you pointed out, quite so much into the middle with whatever was going on with Curtis and Hendo. So
Thiago is such a ridiculously good player.
Yeah.
It's just such a joy to watch him. Like, you wake up and you're like, I get to watch Thiago play for me today.
Yeah,
and it's just his. I watched the Alisson headed goal back from the West Brom game last year, and just his joy for that, like because I know that Alisson probably went down and he had a few words for the Almighty, and he kneeled there with him alongside Firmino. Like he's known him for what, like 8 months, and he's down. He just seems like such a genuinely unbelievable person, and the way that he plays football is like there was that one that no look 30-yard pass that he cut out 4 players.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, he's a legend.
Watching that, you were dead from the waist down.
His father's a legend in Brazil because he won the World Cup. So all the Brazilian players, will have admired his father growing up and everything. So that's my understanding is that they all kind of get along real well. But he's incredible. I mean, the thing that I admire the most about him is just his understanding of everything that's happening on the pitch and all around him. His positioning is just, it might be the best part of his game. I think it's just his understanding of where everybody else is and where he should be, and kind of directing play. He understands space really well. So like he understands when he needs more space. He understands where to place a pass to give the player that's receiving it the right space. He's incredible to watch. And he and Fabinho, I've said it before. I mean, with he and Fabinho in midfield, like I don't care who you put in the third spot. Like I don't know, like 9 times out of 10 or more, nobody's beating us. Because that 2-man midfield with the extra third midfielder is just, we're gonna control games. We're gonna do what we want with those two in midfield.
So we're going to talk about Sunday and the possibility of them playing, because they didn't play right in the first game against City, both of them. Someone was missing.
I think Thiago was missing. Thiago was out a little bit early in the season.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Just want to round out though the game against Watford. I mean, a couple of other talking points. I know that we had a bit of a chat on. Sean had a bit of a chat about VAR and Hodgson's comments about, like, that's not what VAR's for. Wait a minute, that's exactly what VAR's for. The penalty for the rugby tackle on Jota. But I thought actually Stuart Atwell had a reasonably good game. Other thing,
you need to wash your mouth out with soap immediately.
Yes, this is the man who said Stuart effing Atwell 2 episodes ago. Yes, I know. But
I thought he got better as the game went on. I thought early in the match he was missing quite a few.
What, the handball in the box on Firmino's shots?
Yeah. Like, there were a few, or like in the first, like up until we scored, basically, that it was just.
If that was the referee we had every week, I'd be at the standard I'd be fine with that. I wouldn't be good.
How much have you had to drink?
Yeah, you're also got to
taking money from the
we're playing Watford. We're also playing Watford too. I mean, it'd be nice to play Watford every week.
So what's interesting? So let's go down this route. Have you ever heard of the name of the VAR ref? What's his name?
Brooks.
John Brook. Do you know who he is?
Is that the outside of the UK ref?
I don't know, but he's clearly not one of the in crowd, right? Because we don't get penalties like that.
I think I might have shared this with you. Apparently, Italy now is looking to have VAR specialists.
Yep.
Which is, I think, who was that?
Mike Dean. Sorry, just.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Mike Dean's going to.
I haven't had enough to drink.
So just one final thing. I think we were, Daz and I were talking that he's to get frustrated about 55 long shots in one game. But I love the explanation that I heard on the Anfield Wrap, which is that Ben Foster, that's his name, right, is let in eight shots from outside the area in 19 games. So maybe somebody mentioned to them that shot from distance might be worth having if the opportunity arose. I think they just need to calibrate what was a good opportunity to shoot from outside the box, because there were way too many, just give those guys a goal kick shots.
Look, I'll give Jones the one that he blamed from about 150 yards outside of the stadium. The one that was unforgivable was Jota had Curtis Jones, the aforementioned Curtis Jones, outside of him.
He did.
On his ace, and he blamed it from 25. And Curtis Jones was unimpressed.
I think it was contagious, though. I think it's like, well, he had to go. Let me do this. I could be the hero.
Yeah, you don't get shit.
Yeah.
So we had a 2.25 XG in the game, but it's a little deceiving because like 1.2 of that was from Jota's goal and the penalty. So we really didn't create a lot of good chances. There were a lot of half chances, but the last ball just wasn't there, you're saying. And then like Watford was down as a 0.7 XG, but they're counting 2 chances, their 2 best chances that were both offside.
Yeah.
So they would have had basically nothing if you don't count those 2 chances.
Yeah.
They would have had like 0.1 or 0.2 XG or something, So it was kind of a weird match, but that's just how it was. Like there weren't a whole lot of chances going either way.
What I would say, though, is I know the 1.2 out of the 2.25 came from those 2 chances. Ordinarily, though, if we saw a game, if we saw the XG, we'd be like, oh yeah, we were totally in control. The XG does not fit the narrative that I think a lot of the pundits wanted, which is Liverpool played really poorly and they kind of, just did what kind of champion teams do. And I think they had the game controlled, and I think the XG is proof of that.
I think we played poorly up until a little bit into the second half, and then we kind of kicked it. I thought we were in complete control after about the 50th minute.
So I watched it back, which I haven't done a lot of recently, and there were times where they were overrun, like with our press.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't always, the final ball wasn't always great.
Right.
Yeah. So I think we were better than we were given credit for.
But having said that, I think that that's been a big detraction for this entire season. Is like if
Yeah,
we were more clinical with that final ball, we'd be our XG would be higher, and our goal differential would be much higher.
But it's also true that I mean, and I still don't think that the media's caught on, but
They were fucking amazing. Yeah, they should have.
yeah, I mean, we're 1 point behind City, but the narrative is that, you know, somehow like we're not playing the best or we're getting lucky, or it's kind of bizarre. Our goal differential is better than theirs, you know. It's just it's odd. Like the whole narrative around the season is just odd. It's like we fell off last year because we had a million injuries, and it's like nobody wants to recognize that was the fluke, not the
dude. Having worked in media, amazing team does amazing shit with amazing result every week is not going to sell you newspapers.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And like we've said this, I think we said this very early on one of these podcasts. Is like we just like the convenient whipping boy because we always have been, and we just like everyone wants to take a swipe at the big dog, and right now everyone knows how big of a dog we are. It still angers me a little bit. Well, it frustrates me more than angers me that City seems to get a free pass for every fucking thing that they do.
Yeah,
like it's sports washing, lying about where your funding's coming from or where it's going to, like all of that. It's like it's right under a rug somewhere because it doesn't. It's much easier to try and poke holes in what Liverpool's doing.
But Chelsea was the same thing, you know. It was we were always the whipping boy back then, and Chelsea could do no wrong, even though they were introducing this whole age of sports washing at the time. Nobody cared, you know,
because it introduced something different. I think that's by and large one of the biggest reasons. Like no one really feared Chelsea. They were the threat of relegation at that point.
Yeah. Oh, they were about to go bankrupt before Roman bought them.
So we could go down a path here of like.
No, we don't need to. We can go to Benfica.
Chelsea, no, just Chelsea fans complaining that they don't think some like the owner of the Chicago Cubs passes an ownership test. It's like really,
you would hope that like they don't get a say.
But that's okay. It's okay, boys. He said some anti-Muslim shit back in the day, so you'll be okay. Like he's one of you.
I don't think he's making weapons for Putin or anyway, but
yet,
right, yeah. Till he starts owning Chelsea. Anyway, let's wait
a minute before we go. Fabinho's penalty.
Oh man, yeah. We call that the Van Dyke.
I was with a few people at the pub, and they're like, Fabinho with a penalty. Took penalties for Monaco, says I. Boom. Yeah.
Did you guys not watch his Panenka against the best penalty goalkeeper that Chelsea had to offer?
Yeah, that was.
You know, he never missed a penalty for Monaco.
Wow, huh? Didn't know that.
He's the penalty taker. Never missed a penalty.
He's very good at them. I mean,
right in if he did miss one, but he was pretty good.
Yeah,
he missed one for us. I think he has missed one for us at one point.
Thanos couldn't have saved that penalty.
No.
Yeah, it was just like Van Dyke. Just blasted it, kind of perfect right inside the post.
You should probably take our penalties. Don't tell Mo. Okay. Quick word on Benfica, which we obviously play tomorrow. They are, we said, the worst ranked team left in the competition. I mean, clearly they're the team that we'd have asked to play if we had a choice. They have this interesting Uruguayan striker, Darwin Núñez, I think his name is. He scored the winner against Ajax in the last round. They also have, Hytham, if you're listening, Otamendi and Vertonghen. I think Vertonghen last played against us in the Champions League final, didn't he, in 2019? I don't know. But I don't know if you know much about Benfica. They had a long history where they were very good. But the third in the Portuguese league. They've lost twice to Porto this season. We obviously know Porto a little bit better. Quick thoughts on them, Daz, and what your hopes and expectations are for tomorrow.
So cautious Daz, third person cautious Daz.
Alter ego.
Believes that you should never count anyone out. Like if you're going to give them their due, that they're there because they deserve it. And you think about us in 2005 or how we got to that final, like we were probably dead and buried long before we got to that final, and then absolutely in the grave by the time we kicked by the time the first whistle started. So I just don't think they'll have enough for us. I don't. I could see them maybe scoring a cheeky one, but I don't think it's going to be as close as cautious Daz wants to think that it is. But again, it depends who shows up and how we show up. I think it goes down to lineup. I can't imagine he wouldn't play Luis Diaz in this. No, as well as he knows them. I guess the argument against that is they know him, so they'll probably know how to play against him. Whereas I think that one of the best parts of this particular competition is none of these guys have played against each other. Well, very few of them have played against each other. So it leaves that chaos theory on the table. Like it's going to be awesome, because that's one of the things I hated about us playing against Tottenham in the final. It was like, we've done this twice already this season. We've done it like 300 times, and over the course of our competitive lives. And so I think if I want to see Mo show up for this. I think that this is his time to break his hoodoo, because I know we touched on it briefly. He just seems a little bit cynical, a little bit jaded, and this would be the best place for him to bang a worldie in, and then he shows up against City on the weekend and he's ready to go. Because Klopp pulling him off in the 60th minute, it was early. It was very early, 60th or 70th minute. That leads me to believe that he'll play him. Not that Mo. Go ahead.
Oh well. So one thing I'd observed though is that Salah generally is very unhappy about taking off.
Mm-hmm.
He did not look. He looked like this was like pre-programmed. He looked
he's tired. I mean, I think both he and Mane have played so much football in the first 3 months of the year. I mean, I've added it all up. I think Paul Tompkins said it. They've played as much football the first 3 months of the year as some players play the entire 12 months.
Yeah. So
I think they're both just tired, and they're trying to rest them where they can.
I don't know. I long story even shorter is like I think we'll have too much for them, and that's the less than cautiously optimistic Daz talking.
So Stadium of Light. Apparently, I'm on a previous episode where I talked about the 1981 journey to the final. I said that we played Benfica in the quarterfinal, which is what I read somewhere.
Correction.
This was not a credible source. We played them in the 78 quarterfinal and the 84 quarterfinal, but not in 81. Anyway, so
can you step into my office, please?
So yes, need to validate our sources even more for sounding off. But we have beaten them twice in quarterfinals, and in the Estadio de Luz, Stadium of Light, even with that rabid 65,000 crowd. So I'm going to share my. I was in Portugal in 1984, in the summer of '84, in a gas station, and I had a Liverpool T-shirt on, and a guy came up to me and said Liverpool, and I was like, oh, this doesn't look good. And he's like, I saw them at this. Anyway, I won't do the stupid fake accent, but he said basically what he said was, I came to Lisbon Stadium of Light to see Benfica play, and I'd left seeing Liverpool and the magnificent Ian Rush. And so for that alone, I have really positive memories about us playing there. So I'm going to go bold here and think we could win 4-1 tomorrow, because I think that would mirror a thing that had happened before when we were very good. Sean.
Holy shit, you just made me excited.
Yeah.
Can we end here?
I was thinking. I'm thinking the exact.
If Ian Rush is playing, we're definitely winning 4. No, just yeah.
I'm mentally preparing myself to be fine with a draw if that does happen. I feel like one of these matches we got to, the luck's got to pile against.
Where the hell is Will Smith when you need him?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But the thing is, that we're gonna beat them at Anfield. So, I'd rather have that here. But I mean, I don't think that we're going to sneak up on them by any means. I think they'll be aware of how badly we've beaten the Portuguese teams we've played recently, and like you said, Otamendi and Vertonghen. I mean, they're old, and I don't think either one of them are very good anymore. But they'll know Liverpool. I mean, and they'll know a little bit about us, and yeah, I could just see it being a frustrating match. I think we'll win, but kind of just preparing myself to, because if we do draw, it's really not a big deal. Everybody will kind of treat it and freak out and act like it's a loss, but it still means we're going to advance, So,
Well,
yeah,
it probably means we'll have more work to do than we would have hoped. But I'm on the page of, what do you think the chances are of one of Otamendi or Vertonghen gets a red card for trying to drag someone?
Paul, when you said Vertonghen and Otamendi, when you said Vertonghen and Otamendi, I immediately thought of Waldorf and Statler and the fucking in the Muppets.
So as an elderly person, it's like, I don't want to diminish anybody the skills because of their age, but they're probably at the end of their career. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So who starts as striker for you then in that instance? Do you put Jota up there?
I think Klopp's going to rotate more for, like, based on what we're doing this weekend rather than Benfica. I think we will focus on the Man City game and kind of having that best 11 ready for that match.
So the only thing I'd say, Sean, is 5 days to the City game
and 5 subs.
Yeah, 5 days and 5 subs. Yeah, I think he might go strong really early.
He might. Yeah, I mean, I just my sense is that for this one he's probably going to go Diaz, Jota and Mane, and then sub Salah on second half, and then I think we're going to go Mane, Salah, Mane, Bobby, Salah on the weekend against City. I think we're going to play Bobby. He always plays him really well. He kind of knows that high press. He drives him crazy every time we play him. So
yeah,
I think it'll be the old front three for City.
Mm-hmm.
So rotating ahead of that, I think it's going to factor in a little bit.
Be lovely to be a 2-1 with a Salah and Firmino goals involved in that, right?
Absolutely.
Sorry, we're moving ahead to City, but so yeah, Benfica. Okay, so you're like, it won't be bad if it's a draw. Honestly,
I think we're gonna. I'll say I think we're gonna win 2-1, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm not expecting a runaway this time because, like I said, I mean, I think they'll be totally aware of what we've done to all the other Portuguese teams we played recently.
I think it's worth looking at the data on how we've played in European games with this whole 5 subs thing, and we have changed games bringing on 3 people at one time. Yeah. So I even if it's a draw, like it's 60 minutes, I still think we can win this quite comfortably. But I do think we'll win it quite comfortably.
My official prediction is going to be 2-1.
I saw the Benfica Ajax game. Ajax should have won Ajax should have won the game easily. They missed a lot of chances. And I think Benfica had 1 chance in the whole game, which they scored. I really do think we're a better.
Well, their defense. I mean, but it doesn't look like their defense is very good. But they do have Nunez, who's dangerous up top, and I could just kind of see him, even though they're playing at home, I could see him almost half parking the bus and trying to hit us over the top with him.
Yeah.
Why would they park the bus there, knowing full well when they go to Anfield they're going to be under the cosh?
Because I don't know that they're going to be able to deal with us in midfield.
I think they may end up being forced back, actually.
And their defense can't handle it. I mean, they can't play that open with their defenders. We'll tear them apart.
Ajax had majority of the ball in Lisbon in the first game. So,
okay. I mean, and almost any team that tries to play us, it's basically like City and Bayern and maybe Madrid or something. But most teams that try to come out and play us open like that just get destroyed.
Let me ask you this: I know that Joel has, I think he's carrying a knock right now, if I remember correctly.
Head injury, right?
Yeah. So, do you play Ibu?
I think for Benfica, I think so.
Yeah.
And then maybe you play Matip on the weekend if he's good, for City.
Yeah. I think options. We have options.
Yeah.
And we have 5
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Wow.
I'm interested to see what happens in midfield. I think Nabi might get
Breaking out
start
knives.
if he's healthy, or is he still out?
No, he said so Klopp made a big mistake today. He said we have everyone to choose from. Seems like every time he says that, it's like, oh no.
Because I could see Nabi starting to rest Thiago, or just to maybe he comes on second half. But I guess I expect a lot of rotation, but it's not going to be. I think Virgil will start. Robbo is going to start. It's not going to be like a weakened side at all. But I could see us rotating a lot.
Yeah. Well,
because is a data guy, Sean? Like, you kind of have to put to bed all those arguments. Naby Keita's a shit footballer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But that seems to be like that one of those narratives that everyone absolutely needs to cling to. And I see
Klopp doesn't believe that. Klopp's been playing him a lot this year because he's been healthy.
Yeah.
And Klopp said that. He's just had these injury issues, and it's unfortunate. It's really not his fault. It's not his fault that he gets injured all the time. But it's terrible when this happens. People like attack players because they get injury prone. It's like it's not their fault that they get injury prone. Maybe we sell them because it's a problem, but why are you getting mad at the player? It's like they're the one going through the tough time.
Sure, I have a question for you actually, because this is a thing that you at various points commented on. So Keita went away. I thought he wasn't going away, but someone said he got injured. Like the injury, why he didn't play at the weekend because he got injured at international duty. Is that true?
I think he got injured on international duty. I know he was injured last week. I think I saw, but I don't know the details of what happened there. But he frequently gets injured when he goes
on
away.
International duty, right? Yeah.
With Guinea. Yeah. I mean I don't know. What their program looks like there, but you see the problems that come up with the other international teams, and you can imagine they probably run him into the ground. And he plays every single minute for him. He's the center of their entire team.
He's the star of the team, right? Yeah.
Right. He might be the best player to ever come out of that country. So there's a lot of pressure on him there too. But he gets injured all the time going away playing for Guinea. So because he didn't have injury issues before he came to us.
No.
I don't think it's a bad shout to see him starting tomorrow, though.
Good shout. Very good shout.
So let's move on to City. Let's do one around on this. We've got a 10-game winning streak going into this. I personally feel a sense of confidence, again, going back to the whole notion of we've not really played them in a big game for a while. What are your hopes and expectations? And maybe that some of that involves team selection. Daz,
I think we can take them. Someone I foolishly went onto Twitter before coming on this, and someone said we haven't beaten them at the Etihad since 2015. Again, we might need to fact check that.
Well, maybe in the league. No, that can't be right. Can it? Okay,
it's got to be in the league. Yeah.
So that's the 4-1. The early in the Klopp reign, the 4-1 with Chan and Coutinho and Firmino had a field day.
So thank you. So this is why we fact check. That's why I shouldn't take my information from Twitter.
But we beat them in the Champions League at the Etihad.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of my favorite games that we've ever played.
Yeah.
Well, at least in the Klopp reign. I can think of some others when I was younger, but I know that Neil Atkinson has I know he's a stats guy, and he's made a big deal of the fact that the chance creation has been way down this season.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're going to see the same type of brain fart that we had from Alisson when he gave the ball away twice last season in the empty stadium, and they essentially scored from both of those giveaways. I don't think we'll see that again. Again, like I said, I think it depends on how we show up for this, because we need to go into fourth gear in this game. I think it's pretty well documented, and I said this last week. It's one of the reasons that it's sometimes difficult to enjoy games. It's like there's always a quest for zero defect, but my hope is that this isn't one of those games where both managers kind of shake hands on the fact is like, look, a point for both of us is probably what's best here. Like, I think we're both okay with that, and then we'll take our chances against everybody else. I'd love to see us go there and absolutely stuff them. And I think a lot of that'll have to do with who they put out against Atletico Madrid tomorrow, and who we put out against them, and how we show up on Sunday. I can't imagine that Klopp is going to go small C conservative again. It's Neil Atkinsonism. I honestly think we have a shot at beating them. I honestly, in the marrow of my old creaky bones, I believe that we have a shot at beating them. And Sean, don't be a shithouse. Back me up. Say we're going to go there and stuff them.
No, I think we will beat them. I think we'll beat them, but I don't think we need to beat them. It's the thing.
I'm shook.
If we get a draw there, they're still only 1 point up. And I think if you look at their run-in is just as hard as ours is, because they're playing a bunch of teams fighting relegation. And they play Villa they play Villa on the last day of the season too. So you got Gerrard and Coutinho. You know, I think we will beat them. I don't think we need to beat them. I think if we get a draw, that's probably good enough. But I think we will win. Just based on, like, if we play our best 11, I think our best 11 is better than their best 11. You know, I mean, I think about the midfields. You know, you mentioned last year. What have we ever played them with Fabinho and Thiago in midfield?
No.
So it's, I mean, that we've never seen that before. So, yeah. I mean, they basically dominate everybody else. Why wouldn't they dominate City too?
And in Anfield, we didn't have Trent either.
And so that's, I mean, so if we're missing Thiago and Trent, those are our two best playmakers probably on the team. So it's a totally different team. I mean, the game last year, I think that you're referring to, Daz, wasn't that the game that Fabinho and Henderson played center back? Then we have Fabinho and Henderson at center back when we played them then?
I want to say it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. God, I can't even remember that. Was that after we had clinched the league? Did we play?
No, I think it was 2021.
Yeah.
I think it was a year ago, like just a little more than a year ago, when we were in that Padron, no crowds.
I'm pretty sure Henderson and Fabinho played center back in that game.
Yeah.
Which is a joke, you know, like you can't. I just think last season you can't really. I did this sort of like for my own mental health that I just blocked out last season. But I really think like this
season. You blow mine out too?
This season has proven that it's an extreme outlier. Like, I mean, to me, like there's no doubt that last season is totally explained by all the injuries. And if you exclude last season, you just look at the last 4 or 5 seasons, it's pretty consistent. You know, like we're the top 5 team in the world. So it's just what we are. And, you know, I'll be interested to see. I mean, City, you know, I'm not counting them out, obviously, but I don't know that the Etihad has much of a, you know, home field advantage. And I mean, we match up pretty well against them. I'm sure it'll be an exciting match. But if we have our best 11, you know, I think we're better than them. So they've had lots of advantages. By the way, I think there should be a campaign to erase last season in its entirety. I think no trophy should have been awarded as a consequence of games played behind closed doors. 100%. Yeah, especially Chelsea's champions. Like, write that off.
Was it so? So, if you guys follow Jonathan Wilson of The Guardian, who's one of my favorite writers, he talked about like just how like football needed to move on from the awfulness of behind closed doors games. I think it's the starting point for our argument. So, okay, so we're super. So you're more confident we're going to beat City than Benfica. I like that, Sean. That's
because I think Klopp's. I think we're planning for City to be. You know, I think that's the match that everybody's going to want to play. You know,
every time we have these types of conversations, like I can imagine the players, Klopp's players, sitting around, all full of Cheerios, scrolling through their.
Oh yeah, they're listening. If we got them listen to us, we're doing something right.
Fucking dickheads. Oh, Daz in Baltimore says we should do this. Okay, Daz.
So obviously elevating just to a status that we're not at yet. But hey, if by this time next week we've
Me and Jordan Henderson's Cheerios are like this.
beaten Benfica and Man City, maybe we'll like up our audience. We probably have gone on for quite a while. So let's one quick pick one thing from what else happened in the last week that you want to comment on. I'd always go with Everton. We could talk about the Salah contract, which I'm not sure about the sources for that. We could talk about the other European ties, the Madrids against the other English teams. That should be interesting, I think. Go with one topic, Daz, whatever you want to chat about. Could include the World Cup.
I was wondering if you were going to posit that. Are you going to watch the World Cup?
In principle, no.
So in practice, yes.
I will, but I'll say that I'm not happy about it being Qatar. But
well, when Wales make it, and I like constantly message Sean about this.
Yeah, Paul took personal
and they
offense.
beat England.
Yeah,
I'll watch
and
it.
criticizing Wales. I didn't realize you're so sensitive about that.
Was grandfather Welsh?
Sean, it's a nation of 3.5 million people that has beaten a bunch of teams that have got millions more.
Yeah, I know.
And there's more than Gareth Bale.
I mean, I'm not. They have Gareth Bale. They have a few other players. I think that
Harry Wilson,
the USA shouldn't have a problem there.
Some goalkeeper that used to play for us.
Danny Ward. Yep.
I'm not anti-Welsh or anything here.
Well, it's good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm going to wear my my Wales Golf Madrid t-shirt for the next episode. Really do have one, by the way.
Why? I can't imagine anyone rooting against Wales. Like they're the most rootable team for in outside of Scotland. Like the Scots and the Welsh are probably the two teams from all of the British Isles outside of Northern Ireland. I give them a shout. But there's fuck all chance that they'll ever make a World Cup, even with Georgie Best. That's why wouldn't you root for them? Like there's zero downside to either of those teams.
If they play the USA, then I'm going to root against them.
The Scots headbutt each other as a national pastime. How can you be upset about that? Like, how can you not root for that?
I mean, I'm a USA soccer fan. What can I say? I'm not going to cheer for the team that's playing against my team.
Fair enough.
It can be dangerous.
Okay, so I guess I'm done.
And they got the best national anthem, by the way.
The Welsh?
Yeah. Oh. I really
don't know it.
Oh. Go Google the Welsh national anthem.
I will. I'll do that.
Daz has left us.
It's great.
Gonna find a different national anthem.
Sorry, I had to disappear there for a second to compose myself.
What, there's a better national anthem?
No. Just Sean's bullshit.
So, okay. He's gone again. So, Sean.
Yeah.
One last thing.
Oh boy, one last thing. Well, yeah, I mean the World Cup draw, I guess was interesting. I watched it. The whole spectacle of it, I guess, is just sort of makes you wonder a little bit. World Cup being in Qatar, and it's like an hour and a half program kind of thing. I'm not saying I'll end up watching the matches, but it is just sort of strange with the World Cup being played in November and December, and it's going to be in Qatar, and everybody's going to act like it's perfectly normal. It's just if it's an odd. I don't know. I left watching it feeling odd. Like it's just a odd thing here. But like I was talking to my mother who doesn't watch sports at all. She asked where the World Cup was this year. And I said Qatar, And she was like, what? It's, it's just the whole situation is sort of a strange one. And then there's all the human rights issues involved, which are not funny at all. But I'm not, if I'm honest, I'm not going to like boycott watching the games. But so anyway, that was kind of interesting watching it, just sort of feeling like, oh gosh, this is odd. Like, do I want to be watching this? So.
Well, for me, it's dimmed. Like, I remember watching like how the groups came out and what to expect, and it's maybe I'm just old and such an oral loss that like it's kind of maybe I'm cynical as it is, but this just it really dimmed it for me. Like just watching Infantino and his smug bald ass, because I'm a smug bald ass too, and so maybe there's not enough room for both of us in the same room at the same time. I guess I'm in the same camp. I'll watch it, but it's massively disappointing on the back of the fact that I think I read today that the biannual World Cup is dead in the water. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, that's good.
So
yeah.
So I didn't want to monopolize. I was actually wanted to look at some of the groups and in a completely different. We have ascertained that the Welsh national anthem is one of the most melodic and best national anthems out there. Although I will put South Africa's new national anthem up there, because it's in the three official. Well, there's many official languages, but the three main languages, South African languages. So if you ever have a chance, give that a listen to as well. Like it always brings a tear to my eye as well.
Actually, on the national anthem, was it guy in the Guardian talked about how he thought Austria was screwed from the beginning because they seemed to be admiring the Welsh national anthem. In the game. Like he knew they were done.
Awestruck.
Yeah. They clapped though, or whatever it was, which was very nice of the Austrian national team to do that. Okay, I think we're done for another episode. We will be back next week after the very big City game, obviously. If you're feeling nervous about what's ahead, you might want to take a look at Virgil's perspective, which is enjoy the ride. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. Follow us on Twitter. And most of the time, we only tweet and retweet things that are completely credible. Fact check, obviously, got us wrong on the Benfica story. But anyway, another episode in the bag. Thank you, Daz. Thank you, Sean.